There are many different types of debates that you will encounter in the QDU competition, each of which will require you to apply a new set of skills and knowledge. You will encounter a range of topics, most of which will fall into one of four categories. These are, first, policy debates, secondly, empirical debates, thirdly, regret and prefer debates, and finally, actor debates. This video will cover policy and empirical debates, which are the two most common types of debates in the QDU competition. For students in grades 8 and below, these are, generally speaking, the only types of debates set. Another video will explain regret, prefer, and actor debates, which students in grades 9 and above may encounter in the QDU competition. Now let's move on to the first and most common type of debate, policy debates. Policy debates are about solving a problem, usually through the government committing to some action or policy. Generally speaking, the affirmative team in a policy debate is acting as the government and proposing the policy in the topic. Therefore, it should be assumed, within reason, that the affirmative team has the necessary resources required to implement the policy. You can generally tell that you are dealing with a policy debate, as the topic will feature the words, "we should." Some examples of a policy debate include that we should ban pets, that we should punish parents for the crimes of their children, and that we should cease all humanitarian aid to repressive regimes. At the beginning of a policy debate, the first affirmative speaker often needs to provide a model. A model is an overview of how you would seek to implement the policy. Using the example of banning pets, your model might be that, effective immediately, the breeding and sale of pets will become illegal, but the adoption of existing animals is allowed. Unlike a definition, which sets out the meaning of words, your model provides a specific plan that your team are proposing. Your model should be clear, concise, and not simply be there to help you avoid the more difficult parts of the topic. For example, if you were debating that we should ban pets, it would be unfair to the other team to only ban snakes and not other types of animals. You should also refer back to your model throughout the debate to help you make your case. Sometimes a negative team will propose a countermodel, but this is not always necessary. The first negative speaker only needs to propose a countermodel if they agree with the affirmative team that there is a problem to solve, but would like to propose an alternative solution. A countermodel cannot be the same or similar to the model proposed by the affirmative team and should be a unique solution to the problem. If your team is happy with the status quo, there is no need for a countermodel. In order to win a policy debate as the affirmative team, you must convince the adjudicator that there is a problem and that you will solve the problem with your policy. As the negative team, you have a few paths to victory. You can try and convince the adjudicator that there is no problem, in which case you do not need a countermodel. Alternatively, you can persuade them that there is a problem, but that the affirmative team's policy is not the best solution, or that there is a different problem to what the affirmative team believes there is, and that therefore a different solution is required. In both of these cases, you would need a countermodel. Policy debates can get messy when teams change their model or countermodel throughout the debate, or don't have a consistent stance. In order to succeed in these debates, it is important to have a good understanding of the context and keep a consistent team stance throughout. Now to the second type of debates, empirical debates. Empirical debates are about what is objectively true or better. In an empirical debate, you're an impartial outsider arguing about which side of the topic is more true. Empirical topics tend to feature the words better than, are, or is. For example, cats are better than dogs, that social media is a force for democracy, or that superheroes are bad role models. Please note that none of these debates are proposing a specific action, so no model is required. In contrast, empirical debates often require you to set out the criteria against which you will prove that a particular thing is true or superior. Taking the example of that cats are better than dogs, you might set the criteria of personality, helpfulness, and difficulty to care for. Generally, the first affirmative speaker will provide the criteria, but as a second negative speaker, you may also provide competing criteria. Your criteria should not just be your points, but general characteristics or goals that both the affirmative and negative team can discuss their points in reference to. In order to win an empirical debate, you will need to convince the adjudicator that your side of the topic is more correct, generally in reference to your criteria. If the opposition also provides criteria, you must explain why you also succeed on these criteria, or why your criteria are more important, or, ideally, both. Empirical debates tend to get messy when both teams have competing criteria and fail to engage with each other's criteria, so make sure that you set your criteria very clearly and engage fully with the opposition's case. Now to some final tips. First, make sure that you read the topic carefully so that you are using the appropriate strategy for that type of debate. As this video has shown, the goalposts for a debate change depending on how the topic is worded, so it is very important to know what the topic is asking of you. Secondly, engage fully in the opposition's case, especially if they have a different model or criteria to you. And finally, don't overcomplicate your model or criteria. They should be easy to understand and make your case clearer, not the other way around. Thank you for watching this QT YouTube video on policy and empirical debates. Please stay tuned for our video about other types of debates in the future. If you want to learn more, check out our other videos, go along to watch debates, or best of all, just give it a try. The QTU has many resources to help students, parents, coaches and adjudicators, all available from our website www.qtu.org.au.